Hello everyone, this is WarriorDan and welcome back to another episode of What is the Point of, the series where we select specific games for a review, break down said games, isolate specific pros and cons, and argue whether said game is potentially worth your time and or money. Today we are looking at Immortal Redneck. Now to answer the initial question probably on the top of your mind when hearing this title, no, despite the provocative title, Immortal Redneck has almost nothing to do with the current political climate here in the US. Immortal Redneck is a fast-paced first-person shooter reminiscent of classic retro 3D first-person shooter titles like Doom, Wolfenstein, and Quake. But this time with a strongly Egyptian theme, and featuring a strong infusion of roguelike gameplay elements. Players start the game by climbing out of a coffin and entering a explorable open lobby area, where they can practice their weapons on nearby dummies and purchase character upgrades, before jumping into the game itself by walking over through a pyramid entrance. Before letting you pass into the game itself, the game will detract any on-hand money you still possess from your last playthrough attempt. So it's wise to invest in upgrading your skills as opposed to vainly trying to hoard as much gold as you can. Immortal Redneck features a in-game permadeath gameplay structure, where upon dying in-game, you will respawn in the lobby section by walking out of the coffin again as you did before, but this time you will have with you all the money you've collected from your prior playthrough, which you can then spend on more upgrades and power-ups. So it's not really a true permadeath as the Dark Souls community would like it to be, but it is basically a light version of the mechanic designed with more casual players in mind. Early into the game, odds are you'll be dying quite a lot, but as you gradually continue building out the extent and depth of your upgrade tree, you'll find your survivability drastically increased over time compared to when you started. The game abandons any attempt to introduce an overarching story in lieu of doubling down on the procedural generation angle of the gameplay. Immortal Redneck is at its core a procedurally generated first-person dungeon crawler, with fresh new map layouts, random enemy types and placement, and random discoverable weapon pickups. By removing much of the structure normally seen in most shooter games, effectively cutting out much of the non-essential fat from the game, Immortal Redneck focuses its attention on making its core mechanics the single-handed highlight of the game. Over 50 weapons can be discovered and utilized by the player over the course of the game, giving the player a wide degree of variety in weapon choice, and increasing the replayability of the game at large for those of you trying to find all the different weapon types. Over the few hours I've spent gathering footage of the game, I think I personally maybe only discovered around 20 weapons total, so there's a lot to find for those of you willing to invest the time to find it. In addition to picking up weapons from fallen enemies, you can also pick up other forms of loot coming in the form of health, ammo, and scrolls. Scrolls are effectively randomized gameplay modifiers that usually give your character some kind of boon or perk, often with a contrasting negative side effect. One example could be unlimited ammo and increased weapon knockback, but you're restricted to carrying only one weapon, and you must drop all other carried weapons. In addition to being found in pyramids, scrolls can also be bought from the merchant in the lobby. These scrolls can also come in a handful of varieties, each with a predetermined rarity value attached. The scroll you've bought will make its contents known to you once you've entered the pyramid. Adding in some more gameplay variety into the mix, the game will allow you to pray to one of 3 different gods, with each god granting you a specific weapon loadout and distinct passive abilities, making this effectively the game's class selection menu. While these weapon loadouts are what you're granted with before walking into the pyramid, these can be swapped out in favor of whatever other weapons you happen to come across, so there is no restriction as far as gameplay style. Once you enter the pyramid, you start out in essentially another lobby room, but this one featuring a number of different doors for you to enter. Once you enter one room, the door behind you will seal itself, and a variety of randomly generated enemies will spawn. Once these enemies have been defeated, any doors in that room will once again become accessible to the player. The player's goal in each level is to try to find the stairwell leading up to the next level. In addition to normal enemy-filled rooms, each pyramid contains 2 randomly placed boss spawn points. As I usually die after beating only a few levels in the pyramid, I freely admit I only usually encounter one boss, not 2. There's only been one odd case where I ran into 2 bosses almost back to back on subsequent levels. Hidden within each pyramid are randomly placed treasure chests, which can contain health, ammo, scrolls, or weapons. The difference between normal enemy corpse looting and picking up items from a treasure chest is a treasure chest seems to have a slightly increased likelihood of containing higher value items. Although I should clarify that this could be just attributed to luck and not necessarily a predetermined gameplay mechanic. The visual aesthetic in the game is beautiful, with each room, weapon model, and character movement animations all indicating a high level of detail, with no noticeable visual bugs or glitches in animation. I've personally always liked the ancient Middle Eastern setting in gaming, as it is in nature such a vibrant and rich world in detail, and it lends itself well as a backdrop to those games creative enough to utilize it to its fullest effect, such as the game City of Brass did in its own game. Overall, Immortal Redneck is a great pick-up-and-play title for those who grew up loving the fast-paced, first-person nature of games like the original Doom, Quake, or Wolfenstein. Immortal Redneck is currently available on Steam for purchase at the retail asking price of $19.99 USD. Personally, I would recommend waiting for it to go on sale likely during the next Steam Winter Sale, which is supposed to be going live in a day or two after this video goes up, so if you plan on getting it, look for it during one of those sales. While I do believe in supporting smaller devs where possible, I do feel the asking price is a bit high for the amount of content offered. Personally, I would lean more towards $9.99 or $14.99, but once you exceed the latter price, I can't recommend it simply from a price to value ratio perspective. It's a great game, but just not the best default price. Anyway, this is where I'm going to wrap it up for today. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and tell me down in the comments below, what do you think of Immortal Redneck? Is this a game that appeals to you, or would this be a game you'd pass on? Tell me down in the comments below. For those new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button, it really does help me out, and tap that bell icon to get notified when new videos go live, because YouTube's subscription service has gone haywire in recent years, especially this year in 2018, so if you want to stay notified of when I produce new reviews and other videos, that's the way to do it. Anyway, this is WarriorDan signing out. Stay awesome, everybody, and peace out. Oh, and happy holidays. This has been such a busy month, I completely forgot that we're approaching the holidays, so for those of you celebrating Christmas or currently celebrating Hanukkah, I forget how the holidays kind of lay out, but whatever your denomination is or whatever you believe in, I hope you have an awesome, awesome holiday season, and I will see you all again very soon. Peace out.